Dimanche Boxing post-fight review. Flair Cobbs, undefeated prospect out of the Golden Boy stable, fighting against Samuel Kotey, Ghanaian, 2008 Ghanaian Olympian, based out of Silver Spring, Maryland. Big up to everybody in Silver Spring, Maryland. Good people, man. My city, man. Big up to everybody out there. But yeah, man, the Flair Cobb, the guy came into the ring with the woos. He's a pulverizing figure. Treats this boxing stuff how he promotes himself like some wrestling stuff. But today he didn't quite please the crowd. You know what I mean? The first couple of rounds, the man Blair the Cobb was looking like he wants to be on make it a boxing match. Bouncing on his toes, pivoting and using lateral movement and using his jab. And the aggressive fighter and the pressure fighter in the Ghanaian, Samuel Cote, kept coming forward and was missing a whole lot of shots. So just by way of default, Blair Cobb got the first two rounds because of the aggressiveness was not effective from Samuel Cote. But in the third round, Samuel Cote started cutting off the ring, applying pressure, landing some overhand rights, and just bringing all kind of pressure towards Cobb, and made Cobb have to stand in the pocket, flat-footed and have to throw punches and bunches, which he did. And to me, that's how he won this fight. You know what I mean? He won basically off of volume punching, and he was effective to the body in the later rounds. You know what I mean? He was getting tagged with some punches, pulling out with his head up in the sky, But when he did throw combinations, he was catching Samuel Cote. You know what I mean? He had a low blow. There was a lot of dirty tactics that Blair Cobb was using, especially in the earlier rounds, using his shoulder to basically get some separation and space in between him and Samuel Cote. He got warned a couple times by the referee, but in the eighth round, he did throw an illegal low blow straight into the man's nutsack and Samuel Cote, and that got him 1 point deducted. You know what I mean? He got the ref took a point away. In the last two rounds, Samuel Cote, I gave him the rounds 9 and 10. You know what I mean? I thought he was the more effective puncher, cutting off the ring. You know what I mean? Was going for broke, and the man, what's his name? Blair the Flair Cobb was just basically just running in the last round. You know what I mean? So I couldn't give him that. Round 9 was a closer round, but that was definitely a Samuel Cote round. But the body punches and the combination punches from Blair Cobb won him this fight. I wish he could use his jab more. Actually, I thought if he boxed like he did in the first two rounds, he would have won this fight. But guess what? I guess he you know, got pressured by the crowd to fight all-out type of brawl because the crowd started booing after the boxing performance he had in the first two rounds. By round three, they were booing, and that's when they got into action. You know what I mean? And got into throwing punches and bunches. So at the end of the fight, while he was doing his post-fight interview, he got the split decision. I had this fight 9 rounds to 4. Excuse me, I'm bugging. I'm 6 rounds to 4 in favor of Blair the Flair Cobb. I don't think he's yet ready for any of the top prospects, even at welterweight, let alone becoming a contender. I mean, he's only 12-0 now. I do think that he still got some room for improvement. I don't even think he's ready for a guy like Virgil Ortiz, who's also over there on the Golden Boy stable. You know what I mean? But I think Blair the Flair Cobb, the guy got an interesting story, man, and that's basically why I've been following this guy. You know what I mean? This guy was a guy who was a fugitive. He learned how to box and started his boxing, uh, at least from the amateurs in Mexico. For like 3 years, he was a fugitive in Mexico by way of his pops, because his pops was on the run from the FBI and the U.S. Federal Marshals, so they was hiding out over there in Mexico, wherever they was at. I'm not too sure the city, place, state, whatever. But and that's where he started to pick up boxing. Apparently his pops had crashed a little mini plane in an airport in West Virginia somewhere. You know what I mean? In West Virginia, kind of on the borderlines of West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and he escaped, but the plane had like 525 pounds worth of cocaine. You know what I mean? And worth at least that's what the feds say, 24 million dollars. So apparently he left that behind him, and that's why he was on the run. And that's where Blair Cobb picked up boxing. You know what I mean? Picked up boxing in Guadalajara. I think it was Guadalajara in Mexico, and started his boxing journey from there. You know what I mean? Via Philadelphia and Las Vegas. You know what I mean? So I think he could become a star in boxing. All he has to do is win and win in dramatic fashion and keep talking that stuff. And he came into the crowd, the fight with the crowd saying "Woo!" That's kind of like his moniker on some Ric Flair stuff, because that's his nickname, Blair the Flair Cobb. You know what I mean? But the end of the fight, by the end of the fight, they were booing them woos turned into boo. You know what I mean? So we shall see, man. I think this kid is, actually, he's not even a kid. He's about 30 years old. You know what I mean? He started boxing a little late. So time is of the essence, and the clock is ticking, and he got to get a move on. You know what I mean? He probably should fight at least three times this year, four fights for the year to speed up the process. You know what I mean? But Blair the Flair Cobb got in there with the tough Ghanaian, a guy. I think I was even at probably his last fight or his fight before last. Samuel Kotey fought Lamont Peterson's brother, Anthony Peterson. I was there live for that at the DC Armory. That was on the undercard of Adrian Broner versus Ashley Theophane. You know what I mean? I think 2016, April 1st. I remember that was April's Fool's Day. You know what I mean? So he's been very inactive. You know what I mean? They say he basically sleeps in the gym and lives in the gym. You know what I mean? I'm not sure which gym that is, but he's based out of Silver Spring, Maryland. And this is a tough guy that the man Blair Cobb fought. You know what I mean? A guy who's about 23-2. Now he's 23-3. You know what I mean? But for a guy who's 11 and though in his 12th fight or 13th fight, because Blair Cobb is 12-0 with one draw. That's a tough customer he had to face tonight, and it's a learning lesson for him. You know what I mean? He got through, got the W split decision. Time shall tell if he's a real deal. B. Marsh Boxley, your thoughts and comments, and I'm out of here. Peace.